Hi guys, it's just no one here. Sorry I took a long hiatus. Just been doing a lot of, real life stuff, working and everything. So, today we're gonna go over some immersive mods. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the load order and get the idea for that. I'll give you some examples on like what you're gonna see and how things are going to be. I'm gonna go over this kind of quickly, and like I said, I'll just give you some examples. So, to bring in some immersion on your character's part, to feel like you're actually kind of interacting with the world a bit more. And this is also what I use for like my intros and outros and stuff. So, this is called poses, action, and musical instruments, or PAMI for short. What it's going to do is it's going to give you 3 little chests that are kind of hidden at the Guardian Stone. And when you go back behind it, you can go into these chests and you can use test versions, you can use the actual real power versions, and it's just going to give you like lesser powers that you can use whenever you feel like. And yeah, you can play instruments, you can do certain poses, actions, you can even do things like sweeping with a broom and everything, like just really adding to your immersion. Like if you can get a hoe out and actually look like you're farming your farm, like just shit like that. Play a lute if you're pretending to be a bard, drink and dance with the fellow patrons at the inn. You can do all kinds of shit like that. A fast alternate start, another mod that I use with my videos because how I can get into the game, but it's actually quite immersive by adding different ways you can start out the game. Kind of like instead of always just being that guy that got imprisoned and came through on the cart, you can actually start out robbed Left 4 Dead. You can start out, just being a drunk at an inn. You can start out automatically in any faction you want. Instead of just feeling like you always gotta start from that same old beginning. It still might be a little off when some people say you were a Helgen, but I always just choose the things that say I wasn't executed at Helgen or about to be executed, I just was there. Like, I happened to be there, yes, but I didn't worry about any of that. And then, near real time scale. This is going to make your days and nights seem a little bit longer and feel a bit more realistic. It just gives you a lot more time throughout the day and more reason to go home at night. Helmets or circlets, I just feel like there's a lot of times where you can't wear a circlet with a hood, which is stupid, or like in the picture you can see there's a helmet and like the red like mask thing, which you couldn't wear together, which again was kind of stupid because I don't see why it stopped you from doing that. Or the biggest problem of all I had was wearing multiple rings. So you should be able to wear multiple rings. You have 10 fingers. Why can I only put one ring on? It's kind of stupid. However, you can't put on a bunch of the same type of ring. You can only put on one of each type. But this means you could literally get like all the rings in the game, like all types of them, and just wear every single one. And then rewarding reading. This just makes it to where when you read a book, if a skill makes sense for the book you're reading, you'll learn that. But if it doesn't really make sense for any skill, you'll just raise your speech because you still were reading. And, you're supposed to be good with words, I guess, when you read a lot. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Then potions, recipes, raise, alchemy skill. It's kind of the same thing as rewarding reading, except whenever you read an alchemy recipe thing, it will actually increase your alchemy skill, which does make sense, because you did technically learn to make a potion. So shouldn't my alchemy knowledge have increased? Septums have weight. This is just to add it to where you can't carry like 100,000 gold and have no effect on you. You actually want to store it in like your safe in your house, and this gives you more reason to also come back to your house and just like amass your wealth, like storing it up in there, and just also kind of more of a resource. It's just resource control, resource management. Yeah, like you gotta actually consider more so on how much you're carrying with you. better animals just fixes a lot of things with animals that were kind of off, like them reporting crimes and stuff. It also will make mud crabs, orcas, and spriggans unaggressive and less attacked, except for the special variants of spriggans. Um, Horses are faster. It just does some little things to animals, but it is pretty immersive. Domesticated wild horses of Skyrim. This is going to add wild horses to the plains of Whiterun and into some of the woods of Falkreath. You might catch one in other places, but generally it's because they wandered or were chased into other areas. Now, most of them are going to be wild, so they're not going to react kindly to you. They're going to run away, maybe even get a little hostile towards you. And then there's some that are, I guess, are domesticated and maybe just got loose. So they're pretty chill. They'll let you walk up to them and ride them, no problem. You can ride the wild ones, it's just you got to catch them. There's also going to be little baby ones, and you can even ride those too, but they're generally always going to be wild and want to run from you. But it's pretty funny that you can ride the little baby horses. Well-tamed horses is a very immersive mod, like one that I have a hard time ever parting with, because just how immersive and how good it is. Like, they actually added options for you to change the mod to your liking, which is already that's fucking cool. You actually have an animation for your horn. You have to have a Nord war horn, and it allows you to craft one. But you have to have it in order to call your horse. And the several options you have to change it, like which way you want your horse to come to you. Do you want your horse to actually have an inventory now, which it can carry up to 1,000 pounds, which isn't entirely unrealistic considering horses are fucking strong. I mean, they pull carriages full of shit, and they also can, we measure things in horsepower. I mean, and horses are fucking strong, and these are fantasy Skyrim horses. I believe they could definitely pull 1,000 fucking pounds. So, if it seems a little OP, or you might think that's unrealistic, but I'm telling you, that's actually pretty fucking accurate. So, you're gonna have an inventory. You can actually store stuff on your horse, which also might be good since you have added weight things like septums. You can store it on your horse. That way, you also have your horse always kind of near you. Because that's another thing. It will usually have your horse near you, and one of the options of it following you and everything, and then even if you don't have that option on, you can just make him teleport to you. You can also change the aggressiveness of your horse, so if you don't want your horse to run into battle, you can change it. And then you can also make it aggressive, or you can leave it on default to where they kind of just make up their own mind whether they want to run or fight. And then you can also make the horn breakable too, but unless you're really just trying to make a hardcore survival, I wouldn't really recommend it. I'm pretty sure you would just put it on unbreakable, because I mean you're just blowing on a horn. I don't see how we broke it. Well, what the fuck? Immersive movement is just going to change you, NPCs, and animals and creatures to move a bit more, I guess, yeah, realistically. Like, it's going to feel a little bit slower for you and some creatures might seem like they're actually a bit faster. So it's going to make you go into certain situations a little bit more cautious. Realistic enemies just makes hitboxes and stuff a bit more realistic, so you don't feel like you're getting cheap shotted and everything all the time. Not even though you're obviously out of the range of their weapon, or you're behind them, or just far enough on the side that they shouldn't have got you, but yet somehow you got hit. It's just all it fixes. Stronger Dragons by Chazur. I don't know how to say that. But this I feel is pretty optional, but I feel like it's also really good for like an immersive Dragonborn playthrough. Because what it does is it makes dragons have like a reduced damage to everyone except for you. And they still take a little bit less damage from you, and they've had a 2,000 health boost. So dragons are going to feel stronger. But the main thing this is going to do is make it to where like those pesky guards aren't taking your kills. You know, they're stealing your kills all the time. Like before that dragon could even have time to land, you got every motherfucking guard pelting them with arrows, and then they just die. That shit kind of frustrates me. So this just makes it to where you feel like you're truly the one who can stop them while only receiving a little bit of help from the guards. And this is a mod that I've really been looking for a while. There's some that kind of do what I want, but they usually have added effects. And not that those other ones weren't great, or I didn't like some of the added effects, I just also wanted to have just this one thing for Daedric weapons, which is to not have to recharge them. I always found it a little silly that they had to have been recharged. I mean, they're Daedric weapons. This was the one thing I felt would have really made even the weak, shitty ones feel more special. Because I don't gotta recharge them. They're made by essentially what is like a god. Why does it need to be recharged? Like, I understand if it was like Varmina's staff or something. That makes sense. But I mean, like Mesa Molag Ball has to be recharged. Maybe if it like fed off me dominating people and like murdering people, I would understand that. But this, no, no. I should not be able to. I shouldn't have to recharge the damn Mesa Molag Ball after 12 hits on something, man. It's fucking frustrating. It's just like it's something that looks cool, but I would never really use it because it sucks. Sorry, but to me it sucks. I did not find it very useful at all. Now it at least will be a little bit more useful because I ain't gotta recharge it every 12 fucking hits. And it makes sense to me on why it shouldn't be a rechargeable weapon. It's a Daedric artifact. This is the one thing that should make it feel special. And that's all this does, so it should be pretty compatible with other mods that kind of tweak them. Cooking inns and taverns. This just adds like ovens and cooking spits to inns and stuff. And this makes sense because I always often wondered, like I'm pretty sure they cook their own food and everything, but yet there's no indication on how they're cooking it. Plus this is also just good for like survival playthroughs. Merchant Wares Variety Special Edition. This is going to change the merchants to actually sell more specific to what they are selling, and also specific to the area of that they're in, as well as taking out some things like lockpicks, unless the merchant is supposed to be kind of shady, because why else would they be selling things like that? And another kind of cool thing is you can find like really powerful potions and poisons and stuff, and like other little things that you wouldn't normally find at the beginning of the game, but you can get lucky. They're still going to cost you a lot, but you could just get lucky and maybe have like the 1,000 something gold you need to get that really powerful poison or something right at level 1. Just it's a possibility. And then honest work. This would just allow you to sell things like your wood, your hide, your meats, your fruits and vegetables to the right person, innkeepers, farmers, hunters. And instead of just using their inventory thing, like innkeepers and hunters, which they don't carry a lot of gold, you run out really fast, chances are you won't even be able to sell it all. It's kind of like how it works for farming and like the wood cutting. When you sell it to the innkeepers, the log company people, and the farmers, it doesn't actually take any inventory gold from them. So you can actually sell like theoretically an infinite amount of fruits and vegetables or wood to them and get like all your money's worth. It's always a set amount of money and it always can be sold. You know, it's not taking away what you're going to be selling to them if you went to an innkeeper and actually like went into their sell option thing. So yeah, I wouldn't try to sell your wood or your meats or whatever to an innkeeper just straight up. You should actually just use this option. It's immersive and it's actually kind of got a good, you know, mechanic kind of thing because you can actually sell your stuff, like all of it, and get your gold guaranteed while still feeling like it's a, you know, little immersive. Now, crime realistic penalties. This basically is just going to make crime actually matter. Like either you play the good guy or you're going to suffer the consequences, either by your gold or by sitting in prison for a while. Fines have been pretty heavily increased and jail time has been majorly increased. So yeah, you're going to want to watch out. Then Faction Overhaul just fixes some outfit changes that should have been in the game. For some reason they weren't. But that's all it does. And there's a creation club and a no creation club. I don't think I have the creation club for it, so I just use no creation club. Works fine. Pond campers. I partly like this because it makes the world feel more populated, but it's also kind of immersive considering there's like a war going on, so maybe there are some people who are just kind of camping out. Maybe their town or their village has been raided or something by either side, and you can sell, I think, to some of them too, and it's just immersive. Come across some new area with some people chilling, maybe sell some stuff with them or whatever. Lightly populated settlements. This is just same thing with just populating the cities and towns with some generic NPCs. They're gonna have just like a name like villager, or citizen, noble, warrior, monk, stuff like that. And they'll have outfits appropriate to what their name is. And they'll just say generic stuff like, hello, need something? Well, and just like, yeah, they're not important. They just fill up the world and make it seem a bit more populated. Haste does a lot of things, but the main reason I like this mod so much is just how much it improves the bounty amount to where it actually is worth going out. It will increase your carriage and inn like prices, which makes sense because in the time of crisis that you're in, it increases like torchlight. It makes guards actually help you during like thug and assassins attacks. I mean, it does a lot. There's a lot here. NPC personalities. I'll try to give you some examples of this later on, but basically some NPCs will talk to you, some might ignore you unless like you do click on them or something, but then they might not even like look your way because like they're busy and they don't really have time to talk to you. And then you also might notice a bit more expression on their faces. Then this is going to make it to where, well, they both make them blink more, but this is going to add it to where their eyes actually move around. Like your character's eyes and NPC's eyes will actually kind of be looking around during conversation. And the reason why I find this so immersive, because it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it kind of reminds me of Oblivion. And I remember back in like Oblivion when talking to NPCs, and if they talked about something sad, or they were kind of like, you know, acting nervous because they're talking about something they shouldn't be or something, or they're caught in a lie or something, just like in real life, you're not going to notice a person just still staring at you pretty blankly if they're actually talking about something sad. They might be looking down at the ground because it's, you know, they're getting in their own heads about it. Or they might be nervous, so they're not wanting to look you in the eye and they're like looking to the side or something. So like when they're talking, it actually kind of makes sense in some like regard to why they're looking around. And also, you're not just going to be staring just at somebody like all crazy like or something and not making really any movement of your eyes at all. It's always a little strange. And KJR's height adjustments. This is going to just fix characters' heights. Like all NPCs, male and female, have all been changed a little bit, and their races, you know, all affect like the actual lore-wise. Like Bosmer being the shortest, Altmer being the tallest, Nords being the tallest humans, and all that. And most height mods will actually make it to where like Altmer, both male and female, will be the same height. This will actually make it to where like the females are still tall, but they're still a little bit smaller than their male counterparts. A lot of other height mods didn't do things like that. They would make a lot of them the same. So every race and every gender is going to be different height, and it's all kind of based off the lore heights, which is why I like it. However, a warning though, if you have mods that are going to use basically anything that's going to change race, it's probably going to give you a hard time. Like but they might not want to work together. I just know from experience that height mods don't really go with something that changes like race abilities and stuff like that. It always seems to want to give me trouble, so just a word of warning there. Ancient Land is just going to add, like you can see there's like a kind of graybeard looking statue, and it might add like some ancient Nord looking statues. It will add some like snow elven like structures that should be around in Skyrim when you think about it. I mean, they did live here too at one point. Did you just totally demolish everything of theirs? I mean, come on. Then just things like that are going to be around. Gives you a bit more of the world to explore and see some new sights basically. Interesting Roads does same thing, it's just it's going to be along the roads. You'll encounter archways and things like that. Point the Way is going to fix the signs and add in new ones to kind of help direct you on the roads. Good for survival. Lampposts of Skyrim is going to put lanterns across the roads in Skyrim. Good for darkness mods. Hold border banners just are going to be along the roads, and it will allow you to know exactly what hold you're about to enter or leave. And Hold Riders is going to have actual like working guards that will patrol the roads. Magical College of Winterhold, it just makes the college much more magical and more utility wise. Just also extremely immersive for the College of Winterhold. City Trees is going to add in just like the big cities. It's going to add some plants and trees just to kind of spruce them up, but with not having to really change them, just to give them a new feel, but not having to really go over the top with them at all. It's pretty good. Like, I like walking into Whiterun and just seeing how just a little bit of vegetation really can spruce up the place. And I'm not talking like, I don't know, there's some mods that I've seen that like it goes over the top with Whiterun and stuff. I'm like, this is a little too much. Like, I don't even feel like I'm in Whiterun anymore. If that's what you're going for, then okay, that's your preference. Not hating, but it's like, to me that was over the top. I was like, geez. This feels a little bit more in touch with just like vanilla Skyrim, but not feeling like the same old, same old. Then JK's Minor Towns. This is going to make the minor towns and like some villages kind of have a little bit more going on, and it really touches in on the lore for some of these places. Like, I'll try to give you some examples of what I mean by that. And it does miss some of them, like the capital of the Pale is Dawnstar, and TGC Rorikstead is obviously Rorikstead, since these didn't get in it. There's also Dunmer Settlements of Solstheim and Dark's Orc Strongholds. These are some other things just to kind of make certain areas feel a bit more immersive and just something happening. Like, Orcs Strongholds will seem a bit more like Orc towns. Raven Rock, being a town that's been there for a while, would seem more like it's, actually been there for a while. Rorikstead's been there for a while and considered pretty, profitable with everything, but yet it doesn't seem like a very big or major town or village, which it kind of supposed to be. Like, it's got a lot of deep-seated lore. Where's it at? Like, the Pale or the Dawnstar is supposed to be a port city, and it barely reflects that. It just seems like a glorified village. Some of the towns, like Falkreath too, just seem like a glorified village. And Falkreath even has a lot of lore in it, and they try to make it out like, the graveyard's so big, and it's not really any bigger than any other graveyard you see. It's pretty small, really. And you just fix water in case you're like me and it breaks your immersion seeing some fucking seams in the water. I recommend both of these together like this, about as far down as you can go. And then, last but not least, is Immersive Citizens, AI Overhaul, and Realistic Conversations. I recommend using these together. This is going to make people actually have schedules, actually seem like they're really living in a world, and combine it with this, Realistic Conversations, and they actually, like John and Alfina, will have some conversations that you may have not ever heard before. And they'll actually be sitting outside, Whiterun on rocks, and just hanging out. That's the one thing that they like to do. So, yeah, that is the list of immersion mods. I'll kind of give you an example, like, of some of the mods that I can show visually without having to go through the entire damn game to give you full examples. But, yeah, Falkreath, so far it's not really too much going on. It's still pretty much the same. But the main thing that's been changed that makes sense with the lore is how big the graveyard is supposed to be. So before, everyone's saying like, oh yeah, the Falkreath graveyard is, it's the biggest in Skyrim, and it's just like, nah, it's not even really much bigger at all compared to like Solitude's. So yeah, now it's got a lot more gravestones. And it doesn't feel too crazy over the top, but it certainly fills the idea of, wow, this graveyard is certainly the biggest in Skyrim that we've seen. So, yeah. Oh wow, I didn't know there was some back here. Oh wow. Yeah, this must be like the warrior side. So that's pretty badass. So, yeah. Not a whole lot's been changed in Falkreath other than that. I'm sure a lot of you probably thought it looks pretty much the same, which it does to me, but I like the added touch in the lore of the biggest graveyard. Let's go to Whiterun and I'll show you how citizens react and how it's kind of more populated with citizens there now, and also the city trees. Kind of like everything I can, really, in just this one little thing. See, right away, I just love the trees. It don't feel too crazy. It feels pretty natural, but it does give it a new vibe, like walking in. It does make it feel more lively. See, yeah, look at this guy. He's like, I ain't got time for you. Where's Adrian? Adrian went inside. Oh, you can see the height changes specifically for wood elves that are like very drastic. I'm a Nord, so I'm kind of tall, so that makes him look even smaller, but he's still pretty fucking small. High elf man,
Yes?
he's a
Speak
bit
quickly.
taller than me. See, yeah, so yeah, these it's like citizen, farmer. These guys will most likely
Speak quickly.
always make these little remarks to you. Just like, yeah, little generic remarks. But they're just examples of filling up the towns and villages and making them seem a bit more populated. Oh, see, this guy's a warrior. This guard, you might notice how he's kind of walking a little quickly. Like he's not walking normally. It's because he's, he's going to his post or whatever.
Need something?
He's not going to make any remark to me because he's busy. He's got somewhere to be. He's walking briskly. Janasa is actually like outside. Like she doesn't just sit inside the inn. Like I didn't even know she existed for a while, guys. I didn't even know she existed because she's hiding back in that inn. Well, now she might actually come outside and be chilling a little bit. This guard doesn't have no care for me.
Lady, could you spare a coin?
He's actually like looking. People are browsing. Might even notice people inside stores actually browsing or just loitering. Say no one's in here right now.
A fine day to you, friend. May you die with a sword in your hands.
So yeah, you can kind of see how the trees have changed the place. You kind of got an idea of like the populated settlement thing and just how people kind of react to you now.
Hungry.
Now let's kind of get a look at somebody like
Need something?
talking.
Yes.
He won't stand still long enough for me. Let's actually get in a conversation with someone.
Need something?
I'm not sure if it does for the children. Maybe it doesn't. Alright.
Yes.
I know you got a lot to say.
You have come. You have come to hear the word of Talos.
Alright. Are you not gonna move your eyes? Really?
May Talos
Okay.
guide you. Always.
Are my eyes moving? So my eyes should move around. Yeah, see? Okay, well, I don't know why the NPCs don't seem to be right now, but you can see how my character's eyes are kind of like looking around. They're not just staring straight ahead blankly. So, that's kind of what I was trying to show you.
Need something?
Okay, he looked like he was looking, but it made him look a little goofy. He's going cross-eyed or something on me. Wow, you really got nothing to say. You're like, I'm busy, bitch. But yeah, that's about it.
Well met, kinsman.
Just about everybody in here. Give a holler if you have any questions. Welcome to War Maidens. Now you, my girl, have definitely
There
come
you
to
go.
the right place.
He's looking around a little bit more. He's not just staring at me. He's looked up a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so it is
Good
working.
doing
It's
business
just
with ya.
some people are being a little
You
weird.
know what's wrong with Skyrim these days? Everyone is obsessed with death.
So yep, that's about all I'm going to show you. I feel like this video's gone on long enough. I will leave this one final note. I know that in Dawnstar, with that capital of the Pale model on, just like a note, is the fishing spot there is going to
Need
actually
something?
be kind of clipped into the dock. You can still use it, it's just going to look a little funky, but there's other places you can fish to like match that kind of like climate and everything. So I don't see why you would have to use that place particularly, and it's not like clipped in like the post. It actually look like the fish thing looks like it's kind of makes sense where it's at. It's just if you actually used it to fish, you're probably going to be throwing your line through a dock or maybe even in the dock itself. I'm not really sure. But again, that's not that big a deal. So, with that guys, peace out. Sorry I've been gone so long. Hopefully this video gave you some good immersive mods, and I hope you find them. Bye!